Hey guys, there's been a lot of questions, especially lately, about solar systems on homes and how it can impact our safety as linemen working out in the field. There's a lot of these systems, like mine, this is in my basement, that actually backfeeds power right up through the transformer, transforms that into high voltage. I'm literally feeding the grid with this thing right now, which can be a hazard to us out working on the lines during power outages, storm work. There are, however, a lot of precautions put into place, both with the system itself and with our procedures. So, as I'm sure you all know, I am a lineman. I'm not a professional with this solar stuff. Pretty much know what's going on, but what better way to explain it than get the installer over here and we'll hear from him exactly what this equipment is doing and how the equipment he installed can help with my safety working out in the lines. What's up, man? What are you saying? Not much, come on in. Okay, so we've got Ryan here from Hayward's Healthy Homes.
Hey guys.
They are located on the east coast of Canada and serve a large portion of the Maritimes, doing mostly heat pump and solar installs.
Yep.
So these guys looked after my entire system, a great bunch. And we're gonna go to Ryan for the rundown. Let's start at the top, right
Sure.
from the panels,
Yep.
right to the bottom, and see what we're looking at here.
So what we got on the roof here today, we have 38 Longi 405 watt solar panels. They come in this sleek black and they're of monofacial design. We have, at this place, we have multiple roof services being east, west, and on the southern side. So for optimization, we chose to go with the Tigo DC optimizers, which we'll show you a little later in the video how it acts as the rapid shutdown for safety purposes of this system. Coming on the inside, we chose to go with the Fronius 15 kilowatt grid-tied string inverter. As you can see, we got both disconnects for both of our MPPT channels, which gives us isolation of each side. Depending if we're working or if there's an issue, we could still have one or the other or both running all at once. Then we come over here. This is directly tied to our breaker, and our breaker panel at this 80 amp looks like a Eaton double pole. Going into how the rapid shutdown works on this system, we have the Tigo CCA box, which communicates with what they call a tap on the roof surface. As you can see with the green light, all the communication is great. Now on the outside of the home, which we'll show a little later, you'll see the AC disconnect, which is directly tied to this. As soon as the Tigo gets any interruption from the power source or the power grid, it initializes a rapid shutdown response on the system.
My understanding after hooking up the air side of things for a lot of these homes, not all homes have the Tigo optimizers, and that was some of the options I was presented with when I did my install. And there are two quite different ways of installing, but ultimately work out to the same thing. And one is to go with a string inverter, you would call it?
This would be the string inverter, yes.
Okay, so all of the DC power generated on my roof comes down into this inverter as DC power gets converted into AC.
Exactly.
And where I have the string inverter, I opted to go with the optimizers, which there's one installed on each and every unit. And what's the benefit of having the optimizers versus not having them and still having that string panel?
So having the DC optimizers, one of the main benefits is having the real-time data of each and every panel to see obviously how each panel is being affected by the system, or if there's any shading, it'll give you real-time data. The other thing with the DC optimizers, it actually creates a series parallel circuit with each and every panel. So if any panel goes down, you have peace of mind knowing that the rest of the system will be unaffected by that one panel. Plus, it'll let you know that that's the exact panel on the roof, because without the DC optimizers, you're into testing each and every individual panel before you find out which panel is being affected.
So if one of my panels goes down, I can literally open the app on my phone and pinpoint exactly which panels isn't functioning.
Absolutely.
But I can also, when the system is fully functional, I can get an exact reading of how many watts each and every panel is generating.
Of course, yes. They do that in real time, and they'll show you it the instant you look at it as a snapshot in real time.
Okay, cool. So if I didn't go with this setup, the other option is to go with microinverters.
So you could go with microinverters. Now with microinverter technology, they work the same as a DC optimizer in that they show you each individual panel and what they're doing at that given time. And they also convert the DC power to AC power at panel level, which then all comes down to a main junction box or main distribution box before then being tied into your panel.
So basically, if I had microinverters, we would not have this guy.
No.
And the power coming from my system through these disconnects would all be already at AC.
It would already be an AC.
Correct? Okay, cool. All right, so we're just looking at the roof here, and we see that there's a couple disconnect switches on the roof itself. My understanding is that's part of the code in our province to have a disconnect right on the roof. What's the purpose for those?
Exactly. So for whatever reason, if an electrician or someone who's qualified to work on solar equipment needs to de-energize the system to work on it for safety reasons, we need to have not only a roof-mounted or roof-level disconnect, but we also need to have them at ground level that you can see here, so we can isolate the system in its entirety from both ends.
That makes sense, because I suppose if there was even emergency personnel on the roof for any reason and my house is locked up, they still have a way to disconnect the panels from my system, from
Absolutely.
the grid, which is all ultimately tied together.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the golden question that I get all the time is myself as a lineman,
Yep.
this system is literally throwing voltage
Yes.
back through the wires that feed my house, back up through the transformer and stepping that up to 7,200 volts.
Yes.
So when there's a power outage,
Yep.
I'm up there on the high voltage lines.
Yes.
How come this system is no longer throwing that voltage
Okay.
out to the work site?
So there's two ways actually in this system how it does it. The first way, if you didn't have the DC optimizers, is there's actually CTs mounted inside this inverter that constantly sense grid voltage coming in and then the voltage being produced by this going out. As soon as this inverter reads that there's no more AC voltage coming in from the grid, it automatically starts a rapid shutdown process and opens the contactor inside this inverter to no longer allow voltage or current to go out to the grid. With the Tigo DC optimizer, the exact same thing as I showed you before. As soon as AC power is shut off from the grid, this light will shut off and in an instant will open the contacts at each and every individual DC optimizer on the roof. So no power can get from the roof through the inverter to the grid.
All right, cool. So there is a disconnect switch internally in here that physically opens
Absolutely.
when it no longer senses that grid voltage coming from my panel.
That's correct.
Okay, cool. Now, of course, we do have our own procedures as well. While we haven't had any issues in our province with any type of that equipment, regardless of brand, failing, with our own procedures, when we're up working on the lines, when we disconnect a line, regardless of the power being out in the entire area, we do have to check for voltage, check for potential, install our bonds and grounds before we can go to work. Secondary grounds.
I need an overflow for the overflow.
I imagine. Now, if there was a failure, let's say for whatever reason, which I've never heard of, but let's say that disconnect did not open,
Yes.
and that was continuing to feed out onto the grid, when I slap that ground on, what's that going to do to this device?
So there are fuses located in here. And then also to protect so there's no further current or damage or voltage spike going back onto our roof, we also have fuses in line on the disconnects down here at the basement level, and there's also fuses as a level protection on the roof surface as well.
And probably a pretty good chance that it might damage the inverter in that case, which...
Absolutely, yeah. Whenever something like that occurs, there's always a chance that something could backfeed through or cause damage to sensitive electronics or inverters such as that, yes.
Which isn't really a bad thing, because if that thing failed to open up
Yeah,
like it's supposed to,
yeah.
essentially the unit's no good at that point anyways.
Exactly, yeah.
So might as well make sure it's no longer functioning.
For sure, yeah. That would be the,
that's what we're hoping up on the lines when we put those grounds on, that it ain't going to happen again.
for sure, yeah.
She's ramping up.
Sun's coming out.
Sun's coming out. What do we got?
2362.
Oh, that's not much.
Not
Come on,
for-
son.
Not for this system, it's not. Well, I've seen her go up like 13,000 before.
Yeah. The highest I seen it in person coming in the basement was I think it was 12,300 watts.
Yeah,
That's
which is
instantaneous
cooking with
power.
gas.
Yeah, that's feeding the whole house and back feeding out onto the grid.
See how Keith's doing. Yeah, there must be some clouds today.
How big's that system there?
19,000.
19,000, and he's generating 3175. My system's 16, so yeah. Let's get that sun. All right, so just looking at my setup, which was a real good time trying to work with this deck in the way. Had to run everything underground. We actually came through the house, for the main disconnect. So this, the wires come from the system up through this pipe into this disconnect, and then go back into my panel.
Exactly, yeah. So this disconnect is directly tied to that main double pole Eaton 80 amp breaker that we've seen previously in the panel. Comes up through here onto this 80 amp square D breaker here, and then to the inverter. So just like what we said before with the CTs and everything on the inverter, as soon as it reads that there's no grid power, if you turn this off, automatically opens the contactor on the inverter and killing the power effectively on the utility side.
So right now, if I were to pull that meter off,
Yep.
technically I should have voltage on the load side lugs.
Yes.
But I'm not going to, because it's going to rapid shutdown where it lost the source, the voltage from our system.
Exactly. Pulling this meter or turning off this breaker will do the same thing. The only difference is that you'll have two energy sources, one being from the grid, one being from the solar here at the instant you pull it, as opposed to turning this off first.
Okay. So at the instant I pull it, it will commence the rapid shutdown to make sure those bottom lugs no longer have power, or will those lugs stay energized, the bottom side of the meter?
They'll become de-energized because this will, in essence, act as a rapid shutdown, the same as this will.
Okay, cool.
As soon as there's any and all power interruption between the utility and the inverter, wherever it comes from, will initiate a rapid shutdown.
And then, of course, where all of our safety standards are, there's never just one line of defense.
Exactly.
So our procedure would be to shut off the solar disconnect before pulling the meter.
Absolutely, yes. Because you don't want to have more than one source being fed into the meter when you pull it. Same as you guys, even if it didn't have solar, you want to make sure first that 200 amp breaker shut off in your main electrical panel before first pulling the meter.
Okay, cool. And then on our end of things, I'll add that this is now a smart meter. Just the regular RF meter that was on here before does not. Well, I suppose it would allow for backfeed. It just wouldn't record that backfeed.
Exactly. Yes.
So a meter certainly can be backfed. That's what you see when people Mickey Mouse a 240 volt plug and plug a generator into their dryer plug, and it can be a hazard to us working out in the field.
As long as the voltages are of the same phase, because if they're crossed, well, we all know what that happens.
Yeah, there's going to be some sparks flying. Awesome. Well, right on, Ryan. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to drop by.
Yep.
And big thanks to Hayward Healthy Home Solutions for the install. It's been great. Saved a lot of money this year.
Perfect. Happy to do it.
Every time the sun is out, I take a little glance at my app and see how much revenue I'm making sitting passively in my living room chair.
Perfect.
Awesome, buddy.
Perfect.
All right. See you soon.